start off by giving Coach Capel and Pittsburgh credit. They stepped up, hit a big time shot. Second half was a lot more fun than the first. The back and forth. Disappointed in the way we started. Proud of the way we fought back in the second half, and just you can't waste that much time on the road. And unfortunately, it was just enough.
Jake, down the stretch, they scored, I think, their final 9 possessions, including the 3. What were you trying to get going defensively? What were they doing offensively that you couldn't seem to answer?
Crashing the glass. We did not do a good job on the glass in the first half. We did better for most of the second half, and I don't know exactly how many there were, but it felt like there were multiple offensive rebounds that they got in the last few minutes. And this is a team that they do a good job of playing through the shot clock. And we talked about finishing plays and how important that was going to be in this game. And they did better on the glass than we did, and that's what it felt like. And then there was a couple miscommunications that put them at an advantage that got them to the free throw line. Felt like a lot of them came from the free throw line as well.
Hey Jake, on that last defensive possession, what are your instructions to your guys when you have 3 seconds like that? Are you trying, is Minor a guy that you're trying to take out of that play, deny the ball because he's a good 3-point shooter, or are you kind of just telling them, whoever has it, just stay in front, don't foul? What's the instructions there?
Yeah, big thing is, you're kind of 5 versus 4 there. Because the inbounder, it's hard for him to get back into play. Now, we had to be mindful of the pitch back for obvious reasons, and it's something that they've had success with in the past. So what we wanted to do was make him catch the ball going to the ball instead of catching it on the run. And then at that point, we needed to cup the ball and force him into a tough shot. And it's hard because you're in that situation. They're probably going to get a 3 off. You obviously don't want to foul. So I thought we forced him into a pretty hard shot. And we talked about it. We got to contest. We got to make it really challenging without fouling. And give him credit. He stepped up and made a huge shot.
And then you guys, you and the guys talked a lot about getting into this game, valuing the ball on both sides of the floor. You guys lose by 1, but you took 15 fewer shots. I guess, how do you reconcile we need to value every single possession with how you guys were on the defensive glass tonight? Because they just kind of held the ball from you, basically.
Yeah, but both, we didn't do a good enough job in either area. We said going into this game was going to come down to rebounding and turnover margin. And we talked about it, we worked on it, and we just didn't do a good enough job. And I think our to start the game, we didn't have the same aggressiveness that we've had, and I'm not sure why that is. We got to kind of figure out why that was the case. I think some guys did, but just collectively we didn't have enough guys who did, because when you come into someone else's arena, there's no feeling it out. You got to come in and bring it from the very first possession. And I thought a couple of our turnovers early were unforced. They do a good job turning teams over, especially Minor. That was a big part of the scout offensively, was awareness of him defensively, because he's disruptive. And it was a physical game, and when he can use that physicality, he's got great hands, he's got great instincts, and I don't know, 5 steals. So he was clearly impactful on that side.
What do you think they did just to kind of knock your efficiency off? I think Thornton had 18, but it took them 15 shots to get there. You guys normally average 90 a night. What did they do, I guess, specifically in that regard?
Well, I think, they keyed on him, and, we were a little sped up against the pressure in the first half. I thought we settled in much better there as the first half progressed. And then obviously in the second half. But, I think Bruce was a guy that, as the game went on, he and Devin, those two were the guys who kind of had it going and could get us a shot, because we had some other guys who weren't on their A game tonight. And that's the exciting thing about our team, I think, is we have multiple guys who can really score. Obviously, Junie not being out there, that's a dynamic scorer as well. But I think their pressure and physicality and extending some of our catches was the reason why. And then we won a little more up-tempo game, and they didn't. you know, tonight, and that's smart on their part. You know, I think they executed their game plan really just a little bit better than we did.
Good, Coach, thanks.